So punch outs are the same punch over and over again. So if I give you 30 punch outs of all your punches, that would be 30 ones, 30 twos, 30 hooks, 30 uppercuts, 30 uppercuts. So I'm going to run through each punch and give you a couple things that you can look for in practice. So your first punch is going to be your one, or your jab. So you're going to take a step forward and punch and then come back, okay? What we're looking for is keeping most of the weight on the back foot. When you come forward in your punch, you're not putting weight and shifting it forwards. You're keeping your weight in the center. You're just moving forwards, okay? So that back foot stays on the ground, and then we move the foot forward and back. The other thing you want to think about with straights particularly is a full extension. If you have two opponents that are against each other and one opponent has slightly longer extension, who's going to hit whose face first? So we want to make sure that we're always practicing to get the full extension of the punch. So that's your one. Your two, you're going to focus on pivoting your back foot and creating power through the hip. So you're going to twist over and then come back to center. There's two ways of getting to your target. You can lean towards your target to get there, which is wrong, because if you're leaning and you're off balance and you get hit, you're going down. So you want to keep it stable, and the other way is to rotate towards your target, which is the way we're going to do. Again, we're looking for a full extension and making sure that we're getting all the reach that we can. For your three, or your left hook, and I'll say that the left hook is going to be a shorter punch and therefore less powerful than the right. I'm talking about orthodox. If you're southpaw, it's going to be opposite, so just take it and vice versa it. So for this one, elbow comes up, palm facing in. So these are the two main things that people have a problem with. Some people like to punch like this, but I find that that can screw up your wrist because you're not, because you're bending at the wrist essentially. So you just want to make sure that your wrist is in a nice line with your fist when you hit. Especially on the bag, you want to make sure you're hitting the side of the bag. I see a lot of people try to do hooks and hit the front. That can also screw up your wrist if you hit it weird. So just make sure that you're close enough to the bag that you can hit it properly. So for left, I want you thinking about, again, throwing from the core, so nice and low in your hips, and your core is moving like this to throw the punch. My arm isn't doing much, okay? It's not doing this at all. So it comes up and it stays there. For hooks, I like to flex my bicep to ensure that the hook is strong, that the force transfers up and through the fist, and also that I'm not extending in my hooks. So sometimes I'll see people come around like that. I can't even do it wrong, like that. So you're extending your arm and not even realizing it. So just make sure that your elbow's bent, biceps flexed, and then hitting the bag on the side. And also if you find that you're slapping the bag a little bit, that could be a cue that your arms are too long and you need to come into more of an angle in your elbow. The right side, similar. So again, working on the pivot on the back toe. So you're going to come up here, elbow stays as high as the shoulder, and we hit on the side of the bag, again, palm facing ourselves. And for these punch outs, you're just going to repeat over and over again. Make sure the weight's back for all your punches, but especially anything on your right side or your power punch side, that's going to be a bit more tricky to keep the weight back, so just be mindful of that. And then your last two punches, you have uppercuts. We'll start with our left side. Again, it's not going to be as powerful as your right because we don't have as much room to throw the punch. So it's going to go like this. Okay? Typically, when you think of an uppercut, and in practice, when you're in a ring with somebody, you will throw an uppercut more upwards. But on the bag, it doesn't work that well, so I just tell people to hit it and then come back to the face, okay? If you try to slide up, it doesn't really work. You can try it, but I don't think it'll work. So again, from here, same thing. I want you using your core to throw. So the hip is moving like this, core stays tight, and then you're throwing. If your glove ever does this, you want to fix it right away. It can fly in your eye and scratch your eye. You do not want that, so you just be careful with that. All right, last punch. Again, weight stays back. And then you're going to come down, punch, and then bring it right back to the face. That's another thing to watch throughout every single punch. Make sure you're bringing your hand back to your face, and make sure the hand that's not doing anything is up by your face as well. So some people, they will drop the other hand just because they're not thinking about it, or they're dropping their hand before they throw the punch. So they're like this, they'll drop and then throw the punch. Try not to do that. Try to go right from the face to the bag, right back to the face.